Which of the presidential candidates can we really trust? Who can we commit Nigeria into his hands and go to bed sleeping like a child? So guys, I watched this video when the spokesperson for PDP was saying that APC is the most corrupt party, in the history of Nigeria. And he was trying to prove his case. He was trying to, bring out facts why he thinks APC is the most corrupt government since the inception of this country, Nigeria. So guys, sometimes I keep wondering, APC and PDP, which of these two parties is the most corrupt? Please drop your comments below, because sometimes it appears we easily forget things that happen in this country. Remember, it was in this government that we were told that monkeys swallowed money. We were told that snakes swallowed money. We were also told that termites ate the receipts that were supposed to be brought forward by one of the ministries, in this government. So guys, sometimes I begin to wonder. See, we have up to 18 political parties with their presidential candidates who really want to come out to serve Nigeria. But who can you trust? Should Nigeria still give APC a chance? Should Nigeria still allow PDP to come back to power? This is the decision that the masses have to make. Nigerians, you have to decide who becomes your next president. Honestly, don't follow people because of party. Please don't vote on the basis of party. Don't vote on the basis of tribe. I want you to look out for the best candidate. So guys, let me allow you watch this video where Mr. Gwala was making case for PDP and was saying that APC is the most corrupt party or government in the history of Nigeria, meaning that no government has ever come up that is as corrupt as APC. Please just grab a cup of coffee, relax and take your time to watch this video and let me know what you think in the comment section. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel, like this video, share it with your friends and families. Thank you.
Joins us next. He is the spokesperson for the Atiku presidential campaign organization. Good morning and thank you for coming on today.
Thank you for having me.
I was almost going to confuse you from coming from a boy just now with your
Mazi Daniel Bwala.
Okay, so how is your campaign going on now? Because while you try to focus, then you hear some narrative coming through from, for instance, the one that just came through from Wiki. It gets people thinking, is the PDP still going on full steam with their campaign?
Actually, we are going over, if there is any word like over steam, because this is evident in what we do, which is being covered by the Nigerian press and people, in fact, internationally. We have all of our programs were based on dates, and we've always kept to the schedule. We launched the campaign in Akwa Ibom, but before then, we had stakeholder engagement in the southwest, we had one in the southeast, and then the northeast, and it was warmly accepted and by the members of the party. So we had the campaign kickoff, and since then, all the places we have been to, it was a massive success so far. There is energy in our camp. Everyone is excited about it. The experts have adjudged that we are in a commanding lead to win. We're not talking about social media manipulation of algorithm. We're talking about people who see facts. They see what is happening. Our candidate has even gone beyond just engagement, manifest in terms of electioneering campaign, to begin to even act out some of the things we said in our manifesto, which is, he talked about having a $10 billion carrying capital. So he engaged with the Chamber of Commerce in Nigeria, where he was interrogated on our manifesto. And now today, later today, he's going to be addressing the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. That's the largest Chamber of Commerce in the world. They invited him. And they must have seen something about that.
It looks as if there's so much energy in the campaign team such that the chairman of the party had to make a comment or two about him having the powers to stop, I think, certain persons from campaigning, right, which the governor of Rivers State responded to. So one wonders if they should discountenance all of those, if they keep making this kind of statement and focus on this strategy or this campaign which is going on in the States? How do they balance that?
Yeah, I get your point. But because ultimately it's the Nigerian people that vote, our focus is on the ball, right? The people that will vote. Stakeholders are permitted to engage. Everybody has a right of expression. And some of the expressions are genuine. Anybody who feels uncomfortable will say it. But nothing Wike is saying today that is new. He has said it, and it is no longer it's predictable, so to speak. And our joy is that so far the camp he kept right from the beginning is still the same camp he's sustaining. He has not been able to expand beyond that. So that tells you that the movement and the energy.
So about the campaign, I say he went to the States. Why does your principal find it necessary to go to the States?
First of all, our election is under threat. The media have covered extensively the intention and in fact the effort of APC to, one, put pressure on the INEC chairman to resign because he insisted there must be the use of beavers. They attempted hacking into INEC.
Is it actually coming from the APC?
Of course, for sure. It has been reported. There is a conference of United Political Parties. They had a meeting, channels covered it, and they have not been able to come out to debunk. But that's a governing party. What else did you expect? We have seen worse than that. Now, because of this, it will be troubling. And so if you have development partners, it's only necessary that you engage the development partners to ensure that a free and fair process is established, so that people like Peter Obi, who believe he has a fair chance, should be able to have a fair chance in the electioneering process in the country. It is skewed when it is not free, when it is not fair. You have seen even the Labour Party people who have been attacked in places in Ebonyi. You have seen our own campaign in Kaduna, who were denied the use of a venue that a week earlier was given to Kwankwaso. You have seen how talks were sent into the place. So Atiku Abubakar engaged with the Department of State. We've issued out the categories of personalities that they had a meeting with. We were able to extract commitment from the American government that they will ensure that a free and fair process is established in the country. In fact, they are shortly before the election, they are going to announce stiffer measures of sanction if individual or organization or even the government interferes with the fair process of election. That's all we're asking for, not anything favor. With the Chamber of Commerce, our own philosophy is a free market economy. And we all know that there is no part of the world where you have absolute free market economy. And that's the reason why you have antitrust law and competition law. But in Nigeria, where we believe an average Nigerian is an entrepreneur, economy that will thrive and take us out of the doldrum is one that will promote private sector participation in the economy, which is what APC does not have.
But even at that, while that visit goes on, there are still questions about all of those, because, back here, many still have this impression that, yes, you could get all of that, but at the end of the day, you have a ruling party in power who is the party to beat, because they are the ones who are in the saddle, and they haven't been there, have the momentum, as many people say. So they think it's not going to be a stroll in the park for all the PDP, because you also have the Labour Party angle, which many, or those from PDP, equally have a say or joined the Labour Party, and so weakening the base of the PDP.
Let me be honest with you. Labour Party has more promise in this election than APC. It's a referendum.
Not PDP?
Not PDP. PDP is the opposition party. In 2019, you saw how they came close. Many believe they won and it was skewed. But as a lawyer, because there has been a decision to the Supreme Court that says it's APC, I leave it at that. But the point is, when you had all of their aspirants together, compact, with President Buhari, and yet they only managed to escape with 2.something million votes, you can imagine now that they are they are fragmented, where the candidate of the party is on a vendetta mission against those who ran against him in the primaries. Where is Osibajo today? Ostracized, as if he's an outcast in the country, including his boys, to the point where he was the candidate of their party is saying he forgave Osibajo. When has participating in election become a sin? Where is Rotimi Amechi? They are flirting with Wike like the way you flirt with Mr. World, just because Amechi ran in the primaries against him. Where's Ahmed Lawal? Suddenly Machina says he's not going to step down. The referendum on APC is not on a standard set by others.
So you think
it's
that
their own standards.
Are those going to affect whether or not people vote for the APC?
It's already affected, but much more than that is the manifesto, or rather the standard that APC as a political party took to the market and got the vote of the Nigerian people, which, people have come to believe as 419. They say they are campaigning on security, they are campaigning on the economy, and they campaign on anti-corruption. My son is just about 3 going to 4. I was asking him a few questions about security, economy, and anti-corruption. I can't believe that as small as he is, he could rate this government as a failure. Security-wise, do I need to tell you that embassies and governments are flying out of the country? It got to a point now we are not even using it for politics. We are carefully and passionately trying to see how we can save the APC government. Number 2, you look at corruption. It is arguable that this administration has produced more corrupt people than any administration in the history of Nigeria. If you give me time, I will tell you. Economy, economy, if you look at economy today, we are heading towards what is called superinflation. It is a state you get to where the total structure of economy of a country is down. Inflation, 29 point something trillion naira is going to be paid in the first 3 years of the next administration. Our debt to revenue service ratio is about 100 and something. The economy of this country is down. Even the printing of the money, although some economists say it's a good step, but there are others who believe it's a distraction, because you could do that either after the election or long before the election. Yeah. But they wanted to create an activity, to give the impression as if something is happening.
Yet, this was the party you supported up till a few months ago.
No, it doesn't matter. It's not about me.
Just hold on a moment. This was a party you supported up till a few months ago, and the only reason you changed or you jumped ship was because of the same faith ticket that the APC was proposing. Assuming Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu had a Christian vice presidential candidate, you will still be in the APC.
No, if it's a question, my answer is simple. We've gone past that stage. All the news media, print and electronics, have asked questions. I've given my responses. That was before the campaign. Campaign has kicked off. I'm not going to be on the ballot. I'm a spokesman to a presidential candidate. I'm to talk about his manifesto. So it is a non-issue. What in law we say, it goes to no issue. The most important thing is the person I'm marketing, is he fit and proper to govern? Is his economic agenda judged as favorable to the Nigerian economy? Among the other candidates that he's running for the office, who is the most qualified? Who has the widest reach? Who has the character and will to govern a country like Nigeria? Who has had the opportunity in government of looking at Nigeria and piloting affairs of the country?
You don't think
he's way ahead?
You don't think? Perhaps it might be. And one could say that, there's a way you can market somebody without exactly, especially if you have been there and may have still been there, but for circumstances that changed. Right. So I'm just looking at when you say, they have performed woefully. They were performing woefully all of the time while you were there, weren't they?
Does it matter? I never worked with them. I never worked as an appointee of the government. I wasn't in a position to effect change or not to effect change.
Okay, but let's go back now. Let's look at where you say that you pointed out the problems with the APC, and I'm sure that they would certainly have a response in that regard. But let's look at where the PDP is.
But before you go, let me appreciate the fact that you recognize that when it comes to engagement, that somebody says something, APC has the opportunity to respond, which I believe is a big plus to you. Because in the Nigerian press of today, we have seen anchors who even go to the point of making a case for them. And after they've done that, then they will now say, I'm not speaking for APC. So it's kudos to you.
Let's look at what it is that you talk about, the PDP. I mean, when you say that they're still together about Governor Wike, etc., I'm just looking at the fact that in the 2019 elections, the candidate of the PDP and the current candidate of the Labour Party were in the same party. As a matter of fact, they ran on the same ticket. Right. Yet you dismiss the fact that supporters who would have accrued to the PDP as a result of him being there have now left with him to the PDP. Right. And you also have within the PDP those who are supposed to be supporting the candidate with all of their power and might, saying we're not going to campaign for him until certain things are done. You don't think that will have any effect at all?
So I will answer in twofold. Number one, with the last one. Anybody who critically looks at the amendment to the Electoral Act will know that the 2023 elections is going to be decided solely by the will and wishes of the people rather than big personalities. Because the reason why big personalities such as governors and others were alpha and omega is because before the amendment, a governor can tell you, I'll give you 30%, I'll give you 70%. Because after votes are cast in that at the polling unit, before it gets to the ward or local government, usually there are replacement of vote, all kinds of rigging. With the amendment to the Electoral Act, whatever happens at the polling unit is the final verdict of the court, is the Supreme Court in respect of the matter. And the introduction of beavers does not permit of mystical manipulation by individual. So it's going to be an election that will be decided by a movement of people rather than by one big personalities. And that's why I'm upbeat. You can look at Ocean as a proof. The second point that you talked about is with respect to Peter Obi. Fact, Peter Obi was made popular because of his association with Atiku. He is not a new phenomenon like a clap of thunder out of a blue sky. He's been kid in the blood. He's been around. And politics is dynamic. So when you assume that by leaving, he's taking out people that ordinarily voted because of him, you are taking away the fact that the entire Northwest and some parts of the country, where in 2019 they were favorably disposed to APC and have now been disillusioned and disowned APC, they will come back to PTDB that a vote cannot be made. So it is a plus and minus kind of situation. But what I can guarantee you, Maupe, and we can come back to it, 2023 presidential election, we are going to win with a margin not less than 6 million votes.
Well, our colleagues in Lagos have got questions for you. Go ahead, guys.
Very much, Chamberlain. Certainly good to see Mr. Boala again, especially in that outfit, really. But some of the points you made, I'd like to just get clarity on them. So, I mean, you talked about this being maybe water under the bridge, the fact that you were in the APC when all of these things were happening. And I think for a lot of people, it will raise questions about your person, your convictions. Is your job just to market whatever products you get, whether or not you believe in that product or you think that product is doing the right thing? And I think it will raise a lot of questions. Perhaps it's the case as well with this current candidate you're marketing. I hope in a few months or years you won't come out and say, well, they didn't do well and there's been a lot of issues and all of that. But just to get the figures right, you said that this government has produced more corrupt people, and I'd like to give a figure to that. If you say that this government has produced a lot more corrupt people, how many would you say those corrupt people are compared to those you believe were produced during the time of the PDP, just to get that out of the way?
All right, so good. First of all, with one point you made about, somebody was there and he won't come tomorrow and say he moved. I'm sure you were somewhere before you joined channels. And I don't think as optimistic as you are, you assume that you will retire in channels.
We're talking about politics and governance. There are two different things, Mr. Boala.
Can you permit me to answer the question?
I mean, it's not fair to compare that. This is about politics, governance. You're seeking the votes of people, Nigerians, to govern.
Don't speak. You have asked. Let me answer, Mr. Kekiolu. You have asked. Give the fair chance for the individual to answer. So that's the point. You were in a relationship you thought was going to work, it never worked. You're happily married today and you're moving on. You are not regretting that you were once in a relationship you thought was going to work, which never worked. So we dismiss that one. With respect to the corruption that I mentioned, look at it this way. This is a political party who anchors their policy on social intervention of government, right? So virtually everything that they borrowed, they invested into what they call social interventions. On all the occasions that the National Assembly have summoned either of the heads of these implementers, people who executed this project, to come and show data and give them, evidence to suggest that the programs were successful. Do we start with the 52 billion of that intervention in 774 local government? Has the head of that place been able to furnish the data? Do you know what they gave as excuse? That they couldn't give that to the National Assembly because the data contained the names, bank account, and the BVN of the individuals. How absurd it is, because the National Assembly has a Congress that by law can look at even national classified document of national security, not
quite
of
clear.
social intervention.
I was asking that you give a figure. I mean, not maybe give instances, a figure. 100 corrupt people were produced during this government compared to 80 during the time of the PDP. Just a figure, except you don't have the figures.
So this is the point.
And I would like the source as well.
No, this is a point. Alleged corruption cannot be quantified in a figure because it is only when the code of
No,
law
you said it particularly that
charges
this
someone.
government has
We are
produced
making a
more
case.
corrupt people. So I imagine you have figures to back that up, except you're saying you don't have the figures.
The trouble I have with you, Kayode, is that except if you are trying to make a point, if you're asking me a question that demand an answer, give me the time to answer the question without interjecting.
I think I've given you fair enough time. You could say it's 100 or
so that's
20. That's a question. What is the figure? How many do you know about? Is it 20? Is it 100?
I just answered by saying determination of the numbers of corrupt people is made only after there is a conviction.
So how did you come to the conclusion that there are more corrupt people in this government?
The point we are
if you don't have the figures?
The point, okay, I think what I'll do is I'll also interject. Probably one of us will get tired.
No, it's trying to get the facts. Don't try to pull this
based
out
on what
of
has
context,
not been able
Mr.
to
Boala.
be.
Give us the figures
we are
if you do have
because
them.
there is no finding by the National Assembly on the corrupt allegation or corruption allegation that has so far been brought to the National Assembly about the many social interventions of government, ranging from school feeding, ranging to anchor borrowers, and all of this. We are not even talking about somebody who was arrested as a former accountant general, 100 and something billion. We are not even, there are quite a number that needless to begin to count. We are making a case. If they have a counter view, let them come up and give their counter view. But the point is being made that this administration allegedly has produced more corrupt people than any administration in the history of the country.
All right, we need to go. I think that's the way it came across, as though you had already come to that conclusion. But when you say allegedly, perhaps that suffices. But, you know, before you went to Lagos, you did say that this election, with the introduction of BVAS, is going to be determined by how people vote and what people do on the day. No amount of big man can affect what happens there. So that presupposes that it counters what you said previously when you say, where is Amechi, where is Oshibajo, where is Babachir Lawal? So whether or not those people are on the same page, it is what happens on the day. No, but the point on the voting day.
Yeah, but with reference to Osibanjo, you are talking about energy at the time. You are talking about movement. So I was trying to tell you that for them, it portends more danger because those individuals that work. In fact, let me even make the case. Amechi delivered Buhari as a president twice. And so Amechi has the capacity to convince people. So there's no contradiction there. The point is, if they claim they have energy or they have a movement with ecstasy and excitement, we are saying that the people that work for them in 2019 today are disillusioned.
All right, so there you go. Still a long road to victory for all the political parties who are campaigning, because you have up till February.
Right.
So don't worry, there will be several opportunities for us to have all of this. And I mean, as a matter of fact, the people will have a huge say. Don't worry, just keep it locked. We'll do that and have that happen. So Mr. Daniel Boala is a spokesperson for Atiku Okawa Presidential Campaign Organization.